All right. Hello, everybody. Give us a shout out in chat. Let us know where you're from, what swim team you're repping. We'll give everybody a second to log in. How's everybody doing this morning / afternoon? If you're in the West Coast, it's in the morning. Hello, hello. All right. Welcome, athletes, parents, and coaches, to another edition of #FFT Live, presented by Fitter and Faster Swim Camps. I hope everybody's staying well, safe, and staying positive. Let us know how you're enjoying these live series, these live shows. Obviously, if you guys were at the session yesterday, we had some technical difficulties. So hopefully that doesn't happen again today. But we did have another webinar yesterday, and it seemed to be okay. So I have high hopes. Guys, don't spam in chat. If I see anybody spamming, I will have to ban you because it's not fair to everybody else. However, if you want to minimize the chat, you should see a red button over here that should it's got like 3 white dots on it, and that should minimize your chat box. But that being said, if you have any questions, I'll try to keep the chat enabled as long as the chat doesn't go too crazy. And if you have any questions, just let us know, and we'll try to answer them as they go. Let's get started. My name's Tyler Clary, and I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing here at Fitter and Faster, and I'm an Olympic gold medalist from the London Olympic Games in 2012. Welcome to this episode titled Quarantine Fitness with Lee Sommers, Episode 2. This session is designed for swimmers ages 13 and older. And we're lucky to have Lee Sommers here with us again. We want everybody to be safe during this workout, so make sure that you've cleared out an area so you have room to move if possible, and make sure that there aren't any hazards nearby like tables, shelves, heavy stuff that you might knock over, etc. We really, really don't want anybody getting hurt. A little bit about our dryland training expert for you new people. Lee Sommers is a strength and conditioning coach in the Washington, D.C. area with 20 years of experience in the field. He's been working predominantly with swimmers for the last 7 years, and he trains multiple teams year-round, including Nation's Capital Swim Club and Rockville Montgomery Swim Club. He's worked with many college, professional, and national champion swimmers, and most notably was Katie Ledecky's trainer for the 3 years leading up to the 2016 Rio Olympic Games. Let us know in chat if you know who Katie Ledecky is. I've also had the pleasure of working with Lee myself. The dude really knows his stuff. Just FYI. He kind of tweaked his back a few days ago, so if he's moving a little slow, that's why. Welcome, Lee. How are you?
All right, Tyler. How you doing, buddy?
Doing all right, man. Just hoping the stream stays live, unlike yesterday.
Yeah, we managed to get through, and for those that missed the end of it, I'm sure we can tag that on to the beginning or later portion of the one that we do next week. So should be okay.
Exactly. All right. So do you want to tell us a little bit about the workout you have for us today?
Yeah, absolutely. So last week we did a partial introduction to dryland and strength and conditioning, talked about why the exercises were important, trying to put some more purpose behind everything. Today's going to be more of just a workout. So we're not going to do as much talk. As you guys are doing the exercises, I'll start to talk through some of the reasons why these exercises are important, how to do them correctly, how to do them incorrectly, how to progress and regress them. But it's going to be mostly workout today. I'm going to give you a series of exercises to do, and you're going to go through them 3 rounds apiece for the most part. We'll kind of outline that as we go. All of this is really just to make you guys, first of all, stay in shape and stay active while we're in quarantine, while we're kind of locked down. But then more importantly, to whenever you get back in the water, to really make sure that you are in as best a shape as you can be, and hopefully maybe even a little stronger, a little bit more stable than you were coming out of your winter and going into your spring seasons. If we can give you some exercises that are going to help you as far as your body position, your stability, your strength, your power, that will translate towards better performance when you can finally get back in the water. So that's really the purpose behind these exercises. And so, from this point, we're just going to kind of go. If you have questions, Tyler can kind of read them as they come in on the stream in the chat, and we can go from there. I know everyone has different types of equipment. Yesterday, we asked the group, throughout the workout, did they get equipment? Did they get this piece of equipment or that piece of equipment? So as those things come up, I'll have Tyler ask, and it'll give me a good idea of who's working with what. And then as always, try and get as much equipment as you can, because the more equipment we have, the more flexible we can be, the more things we have at our disposal to be able to challenge you in different ways. All right.
Okay, while Lee's getting set up, just to answer a couple of questions, if you haven't been here before, this workout's going to be roughly an hour long. Also, if you're having any connection issues, you should see a button up at the top of the screen that says reconnect. Just go ahead and hit that button and hit reconnect, and it will reconnect you. This is weekly at the same time for the 13-year-olds. Next week, it's going to be just a little bit later, just FYI. That being said, Lee, take it away.
All right, guys. So for the upcoming weeks, whenever you come in, it'd be a great idea if you do a little bit of a warm-up before we get started. Maybe do a couple jogging laps around your house, do some skips, do some butt kicks, some things just to get yourself warm. But for today, I'll give you a couple things that you can do for a warm-up. One is called a jumping jack matrix. You're going to go through a bunch of different jumping jacks with a bunch of different planes, both with your arms, your hips, and your foot and ankle. So first one is just regular jumping jacks. You're going to go straight up and out, and you're going to do 10 of those. Hopefully everyone's doing all of this with me. So go ahead and go through 10 of those. Once I think you've gone through about 10, I'll just change up something, okay? So the next thing we're going to change is what's going on with your legs. So now we're going to take your legs out and in. So I'm sorry, legs will stay the same, arms are going to change. So instead of going here, we're going to go a seal jack, so it's here. Okay, so now we're just warming up the shoulders in a different plane. We'll do 10 of those. After that, we'll keep the arms here, but we'll change the legs. Now the legs are going to scissor, they're going to go front to back. Try not to cross them, just straight back and forth. You'll do 10 of those. And then when you're done with those, legs will stay the same. Arms are going to go back to here. So 10 of those, staying on the balls of your feet, never getting flat-footed. And then the last one, whichever leg is back, we're going to take that arm up, and we're just going to scissor this one. Okay, so we're taking your arms, legs, hips, foot and ankle through different planes to get warm.
Make sure you're doing this along with Lee at the same time. This is meant to be a workout that you do along with him, not just watch. We want you to do this workout with him.
Okay, so before I get into the next few exercises, here's your first question that you can answer for Tyler. Did you guys go out and get mini bands? Multiple different types of resistance, light, medium, heavy, extra heavy, whatever they're called on the band. Did you get any of these? Answer yes or no, so I know who's working with what. Okay. From there, come down to the floor for a little bit of a warm-up. So the next few, we did a lot of these last week. First one is going to be cat-cow. You can see a slight arch in my low back, slight arch here in my neck. You're going to tilt your hips and tuck your head under until you're completely rounded out. We're trying to move more through here, through your low back and hip complex, less through your shoulders. So we're not trying to do this up here. We're trying to tilt your hips and round out, slow and controlled.
Looks like 40% of people that are responding to the poll said that they do have or they did purchase a mini band.
Okay, so I think yesterday was 35%, so we're making progress. So we're going to do 10 of these, guys. Slow and controlled, moving one segment of your spine at a time. Round it out. And then bring it back to neutral. Okay, once you're done with 10 of those, we're going to do bird dogs, which we also did last week. Opposite arm and leg. Extend, heel straight back, fingertips straight back. So you're trying to get as much distance between your fingertips and your heel as possible. We'll do 10 on each side. Try to make sure that when you're doing that, we're not tilting. We're keeping everything else nice and stable as you move through your shoulder and your hip. One straight line. We'll do 10 of each.
It's okay if you were late, guys. Just go ahead and jump right into the workout where we are. No worries.
Absolutely. All right. So we should be coming near the end of that. Finish up that set. Now this movement prep stuff that we're doing, we're only going to do one set up. Then when we get into the lifts or the resistance training portion, we're going to do 2 to 3 sets of everything. Okay, so we are treating this like a regular dry land workout, guys. So it's not just for you guys to watch, participate, challenge yourselves. All right, so the next one, I'll jump into your screen in a second, is going to be that world's greatest stretch or elbow to instep stretch. Set up your feet hip width apart. Take a big step with one foot. Find the floor with your hands, and then straighten out your body, strong as steel from head to heel, one straight line. And then you're going to bring this elbow inside of your knee to your instep, and then reach up for the ceiling. Again, make sure we're not throwing your shoulder back. We're rotating through here. You'll do that once, then rock back and step up, and then you'll do the other side. Big step, strong as steel from head to heel, one straight line, elbow in, reach for the ceiling. Back down, and okay, we're going to do 3 of those on each side, guys.
3 to each side. Let us know in chat when you're done. 3 in each side. Let us know in chat when you're done.
Do about another 10 seconds, then we're going to get to our next one. So that was more for a stretch. The next one is going to be more stability. We talked about this last week. We're going to do a bear crawl. So start at one end of your screen, finish at the other, hopefully. You're going to find neutral spine again, and then make sure hands are stacked underneath shoulders, knees are stacked underneath of hips. You're going to lift your knees an inch from the floor, not very high because you don't want your butt up in the air. You want to be a tabletop. So right here, and then small steps.
Well, real quick, so that last thing that we just did, folks, was called World's Greatest Stretch, for anybody who was wondering. That's called World's Greatest Stretch.
So with this one, guys, make sure that your hand and foot are leaving and landing at the same time. It's the opposite hand and foot. So whichever, if I lift my left foot, I'm lifting my right hand, and I'm just crawling. Call that a baby bear crawl. You're going to do 20 forward and 20 back.
20 steps forward, 20 steps back. Let us know when you're finished.
All right, everyone should be closing in on the end of that one. So the next thing we're going to do, guys, I'm going to give you a couple different views because I'm going to kind of wind up out of the screen otherwise. Let's see if I can get everything in. Yeah, pretty close. Okay, so what you're going to do here, these are called pops, but we're going to do them in a streamline. So if you guys want to see what my upper body's going to look like, everyone knows what a good streamline looks like. Mine is not, don't worry. Tyler can show this much better than I can. But you're in a nice streamline position up top. And you're going to stay in the balls of your feet and just pop. So just small jumps. We're not jumping for height. We're warming up the foot and ankle. So you're going to get in that good streamline position. Absorb the ground, nice, soft with your feet, soft with your knees. We'll do 30 of those. Okay? Take your time, no rush. Okay, now, for the group that has the mini bands is going to go above your knee. Sorry, guys. And we're going to set that right up above the knee. Hip width to shoulder width apart with the feet. You're going to do knee dives. 10 on one side. 10 on the other. And then 10 with both. Make sure your toes are facing straight forward. They're not turned out. Knees aren't falling in. Okay? Once you've done 10 of each, then you're going to do slides. Slides will look like this. Slide straight across. Toes are still facing straight forward. The knees don't come all the way together. Small steps. Keep your hips level. You'll do 10 in each direction. For the 60% of you that do not have a mini band, we're going to do that same side hip complex that we did the other day. You'll lie on your side, knee up, top leg is straight, toes are pointed, not pointing up to the ceiling, pointing straight forward. We'll do 10 here, 10 here, and 10 in each direction here. Small circles, control it at the hip. You should be feeling this glute doing the work.
Braden, this is the exercise you should be doing if you don't have a band. So if you don't have a band, this is the exercise series you should be doing.
Okay, that should take a little bit of time to get through. If you're doing 10 of all 4 of those sideline, or if you're doing 10 of the knee dives, slides in each direction, this should take you some time. You should be moving through it slow, trying to feel the glutes doing their job laterally. The more stable your hips are in what's called the frontal plane, so the plane that's out to the side, the more stable your hips are, the more control you'll have over your body position when you're doing your strokes. Otherwise, you'll wind up like a floppy fish kind of all over the place. So the more stable you are here in this plane, that frontal plane, the better you'll be able to maintain body positions as you stroke. Should be coming to the end there.
Both sides. That's right, Josie. You should be doing both sides. If you don't do both sides, you're going to end up swimming in circles. You got to do both sides. Connor, you should be using the band resistance that's best for you. So if it's too heavy and you can't really feel like you're moving your knees properly or you're able to do your side slides, then go to a lighter band. You should probably start off with the lighter one and then build up.
Yeah, Tyler, to speak to that, if you're doing this and you have a hard time getting your knees back to this position, it's really pulling you in, it's too heavy. You should be able to move under control in and then push back out to that starting position. I don't want to say with ease, but you should be able to complete sets of 10, feel it, but not have it sacrifice good positions.
Casey, this is still the warm-up section. We're going to get into the full workout portion here in a moment. This is still warm-up.
Yep, we call this movement prep or pillar strength. This is the stuff that sets you up to be able to move well when you get to your strength exercise. So we're warming up your hips so that you can do things like squats and lunges and jumps. We warm up, we get your shoulders nice and stable so that when you do things like rows and push-ups and presses, your shoulders are stable and strong and ready to move without pain and hopefully reduce the risk of injury. That's kind of the reason for doing our movement prep stuff first. Okay? All right. So next thing is kind of like an introduction to power. Now, with a lot of these exercises, guys, I can't see you. When I'm working with my teams, when I'm working with Nations Capital or RMSC here in Rockville, or even some of my small groups that I train, I get to see them, even virtually. I get to see each one of them, and I get to give them coaching and cueing and feedback on everything. It's very easy for me to know when to progress or regress them when I can see them. I can't see you guys, so I'm going to kind of hope that you're keeping yourselves honest, you're paying attention to coaching and doing on giving, so that you know what things, if it doesn't feel right or doesn't look right, you know and you can make a change. Okay? So jumping is a big one. And with this group, I feel a little bit more confident. You're the older group. You're a little bit more comfortable with your movement patterns. What we're going to do is what's called a non-counter movement jump. Okay? So you're going to set up, make sure you don't have anything too close to you because you don't want to land on something and roll your ankle. You're going to set up with your feet shoulder width apart to hip width apart. You're going to start in a bottom position, so the lowest part of your jumping pattern. So for me, that's about here, or if you're looking at that from the side, it's about here, ready to move. Arms are back. I'm going to do what's called a non-counter movement jump, which means I'm not using any of my elastic energy to jump like you would if I said jump as high as you could. You would load, go. Here, you're going to hold that bottom position the same way you would the starting blocks for a race, okay? So you're going to hold here, 2-second hold, jump, land well. When you land, you don't want to land like this, and you certainly don't want to land like this. We want to land back in that starting position. That's why we did the knee dives, to create that position where you're stable in your hips and you're stable in your ankles so your knees don't pay the price, okay? So you're going to do a 2-second hold at the bottom, and then you're going to jump as high as you can and land well, okay? So we're going to do 6 of those, guys, on you. 2-second hold before you jump.
While you guys are doing this, Georgia Howard, you guys will get an email with a link to the replay of this video. And if you should be doing this workout right now, but go back afterwards, get a pen and paper and write down everything Leah's saying, and then you'll have the copy of the workout in your own words.
All right, you should be closing in on the end of that 6. Now we're going to do some single leg balance. This is going to work on your foot and ankle stability, your hip stability. Just think in terms of your knee is the innocent bystander between your hip and your foot and ankle. If the foot and ankle's not doing well with balance and ground contact, then your knee will pay the price. If your hip isn't strong and stable, your knee will pay the price, okay? Breaststrokers, pay attention. Your knee has a whole different set of demands, okay? So we'll go single leg bounce. Grab the floor with your big toe, even if you're in sneakers. We're gonna do 3 planes. 1, which is straightforward. 2, which is to the side. And 3, you're gonna rotate a little bit. This is gonna be a little bit tougher than what I gave the younger kids yesterday. For them, I just told them to go straight back. For you, I want you to rotate your hips. Watch my knee. It's gonna stay at 12 o'clock as I rotate that way, okay? So it's gonna be 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, and you're gonna go to 5. You should start to feel your foot and ankle doing something, and this hip, the standing hip. Once you've done 5 of each, you'll switch legs. Straight forward, side, and rotational, working on this hip for stability. If you want to see that from the side, look like this. Straight forward, little bend knee, little hinge in the hips, out to the side, and then rotation. 5 of each of those on each leg. Should start to be lighten up the foot and ankle, lighting up the hips a little bit. All right, should be coming close to the end there.
Guys, yesterday we put up a copy of the workout on the screen yesterday, but none of these workouts are going to make sense, or none of these exercises are going to make sense if you just take a picture of the workout, unless you're actually following along and listening to what Lee is saying. So we did that yesterday. We're probably not going to do that today. Just try to write down things or remember things from today, and later on go and look at the replay and write this down yourself.
Yeah, this one's called single leg balance and reach. If you just read that a week from now, you wouldn't remember what that was. Okay? We're going to do one more set of those jumps. So start down here, hold, jump, land well. Jump as high as you can, but more important is that landing. When you land, make sure you don't land like this. You land ball to heel, so you're absorbing the ground a little bit. Okay? You should not feel vibrations up in the top of your head when you land. It should be soft, controlled. You'll do 6 of those, and then we're moving on to our resistance stuff. Okay, should be finishing up with those. All right, so now we're getting to our resistance program. So that you guys understand this again, I alluded to it earlier. You're gonna go through this 3 times, okay? After I give you the exercises the first time, Tyler will then post it in the chat what those 3 exercises are and how many you should do, so you don't have to keep asking that over and over, okay? So the first exercise, last week we went over a squat, very basic squat. Hopefully you guys have some form of weight in your house. I don't care if it's a dumbbell, if it's a kettlebell, if it's a can of paint. I had one swimmer who actually picked up his dog and held his dog out in front of him like this and went through his squatting. Be safe. Give the dog some safety as well. Probably don't recommend the dog thing. Never mind. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab a weight. It should be whatever weight you have. If it's 10 pounds, great. If you can, this is an older group. If I've got some 17, 18-year-olds and you've been squatting, you can goblet squat with 50 pounds if it feels comfortable and you're able to hold the good positions. Last week we did a regular squat. It looked something like this, right? Nice and controlled. So today, we're going to do what's called a squat matrix. Squat matrix is a bunch of different squat patterns. We're going to use that same weight, whatever you have. We're going to squat here 8 times, okay? Give me 8 squats. Make sure the knees aren't diving in. The heels aren't lifting. You're spreading the floor with your feet, okay? You're going to do 8. When you're done with that 8, we're going to take the feet wider. So wider first, and then we're going to turn them out a little bit. Externally rotate at your hips. Then from there, we're going to squat here. With this squat, you may feel a little bit more of these guys, your adductors and groin. Great one for breaststrokers. And then your third one, you can do 8 of those. Third one, feet a little wider, toes now facing straight forward again. And you're going to do what's called a lateral squat. where you sit down and back into one hip and then down and back into the other. Okay? So if you can see that from the side a little bit, do not shoot yourself straight out to the side like this. Think about sitting back into this hip a little bit as you go down. Okay? You should be getting, on that one, you're going to do 4 on each side for a total of 8. You should be getting a nice stretch in here while this quad and this glute do the work. Okay. So you guys, if you were following along, you should be through 8 of each of those already. Next exercise, row. We went over this last week. So you're going to grab a band. This one you can probably handle a pretty strong band, a pretty heavy band, because your back muscles should be pretty strong at this point in your swim career. We're going to start right here, a little quarter squat, and you're going to row. Try and pull. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. 15 reps. Okay, so the first one was 8, 8, and 8. That one is 15. Third exercise is a side plank. Side plank, you're going to stack your feet on top of each other, elbows stacked underneath your shoulder, and you're going to lift up into your side plank and hold. Now, you can either do 15 seconds there, or if side planking is really easy for you, the progression or up progression is going to be doing something with that top leg. So what we're going to do is we're going to drive that leg out in front of us a little bit. It'll look like this. Okay, make sure your hips stay up. They don't fall down as you do that knee drive. Okay, so if you're doing that progression, you're going to do 10 reps and then switch sides. If you're just holding the side plank, you're going to do 15 seconds per side. Okay, so you're going through all 3 of those exercises 3 times. If you have questions, share them with Tyler, and I'm happy to answer them as we go.
All right, y'all, let us know in chat when you're finished with those. Should take you a little bit of time. We're not trying to do a ton of these, or we're not trying to do all of these really fast. We're trying to do them properly. So let us know in chat when you're done.
And guys, with all these exercises, if you have questions, concerns that you want to ask me personally, you can reach me Instagram, Lee Sommers, ET, is one way to find me. And Tyler also has my email, which he'll post at certain points. So if an exercise doesn't feel right or you have questions about it, but you don't want to ask as part of the live chat, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to help. So we have 3 rounds with each of those guys before we move on to our next block of exercises.
Would a pull-up bar be a good substitute for the cord rows?
So a pull-up is more of what we call a vertical upper body pull exercise. I love pull-ups if you're able to do them well. It's not necessarily a replacement. Typically what we're doing is, and what you'll notice today is we're going to do an upper body pull exercise. We're going to do an upper body push exercise, both of which will be horizontal today. On another program, we may do one with a vertical press of some kind or another and a vertical pull of some kind or another. I typically like to do more horizontal pulling for swimmers because it addresses more shoulder health, whereas vertical pulling, you guys are already doing a ton of vertical pulling through the water to begin with. So while I love pull-ups for strength for your sport, I think it's important to really address shoulder health as kind of the priority of the 2, if I was going to rank that. But yes, we do both vertical pulling and horizontal pulling.
Rowing is a good substitute for cord rows, Chloe. Madeline, you can, if you can't do any of these due to a wrist injury, just try to focus on your lower body and your core. Kylie Stewart, you can find those bands online at Amazon.com. You can either look for mini bands on Amazon.com, or Lee, what should you search in Amazon for the stretch cords?
Tyler, Kylie Stewart's in big trouble. She's one of my athletes, and she knows this, as does her dad. You're in trouble, Kylie.
Uh-oh.
But yes, for the mini bands, you should be going to Perform Better. And then for the tubing bands, if you want ones that have the handles, Spry is a good one. But you can honestly find those on Amazon. You can pretty much look anywhere. But any of those companies makes bands either that are just TheraBand, which are just the band, no handle, or the ones with the handles. Everyone makes those at this point. Probably find them at Target and Walmart too. And as long as you have different, you vary your resistance. You have some light, because we're going to do some exercises that you need lighter. And then things like rows, you're going to need something a little heavier to really feel it. You want to kind of have a variance.
Okay, let us know in chat when you've done all 3 rounds of those.
I wish I could see you guys to tell you how great you're doing, but I'm going to trust that you're all putting in the work.
Raina Sarabasi, you can look online for good med balls too.
Yeah, so as we start getting into some of our power work, we're going to want some med balls. If you can, it's tough to mimic med balls with anything else for some of the power exercises that we're going to do, like slams and throws, both overhead and rotational throws. So, and we may actually start to do a little bit of park work at a certain point, so we have more room to throw things than in my dining room, let's say. Not necessarily saying you guys have to go outside, but I may have to. Today here in Maryland, it is very, very windy, so outside the mic would not pick up well at all. All right, Tyler, when people are starting to check in that they're done with those 3 rounds of everything, we'll move on to the next thing.
Yeah, looks like people are starting to say they're done, so let's go ahead and move on.
Okay, so next round of exercises. Let's get you set up here. All right, so last week we did push-ups. We're going to do push-ups again today. So again, remember, the regressed version is with your knees in contact with the floor. Tuck your tailbone so you're a straight line from head to knees. And you're going to come down under control and then push up. I want you to focus on the last little bit where you're punching the floor away. That's called protraction. And then resetting your shoulders as you come down. You can either do those or your regular push-ups. And then today what I'm going to give you is a little progression. Like I said, with the older kids, I'm going to give you a bunch of different progressions that you can do. This is a great exercise for shoulder stability. Okay, so you're going to do your push-up. It's also going to be a challenge on your core if you're doing it right. You're going to take your feet a little bit wider. You're going to do your push-up. And then when you come up, you're going to do a shoulder tap. Push-up, shoulder tap. When you do that, you're going to want to not rotate your hips to do the shoulder tap. You're going to want to try and stay pretty close to level, parallel with the floor. Go for a tap, then go back down for the push-up. And you can do this one from your knees also. Here, tap. Okay, we're gonna do 10 of those. Then get this a little lower. Single leg bridges. Set up here. Hip in line with knee, in line with foot. Tuck your tailbone. Push up. And then down under control. Push up. And down under control. We'll do 10 on each side. If that feels easy, grab yourself a dumbbell or something with weight. Put it right here on your hip. Hold it. And now you're driving up the weight of your body plus this. You should feel a ton of this glute turning on. And then down under control. Third exercise. With the band is that external rotation. So you want the band pulling you this way, doing external rotation, working on those small rotator cuff muscles that are responsible for this, okay, not this, okay? So pushing out and back in under control. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Control that lowering of the weight or that eccentric load. Okay. With this exercise, people often ask me, or I see a lot of swimmers doing this number, which is called internal rotation. There's nothing wrong with doing internal rotation, but as an exercise for swimmers, you guys are spending so much time doing internal rotation during your strokes that we want to work on the muscles that are responsible for externally rotating, because that's going to keep your shoulder healthy. Okay.
What can you show them the alternative on your side if they don't have the bands?
So if you've got a soup can, let me lower that.
Guys, while he's setting up to do this, you're gonna get a replay of this, and in that email, we're sending you links to where you can buy all of this stuff. So make sure that you look for those links, and if you want to purchase this stuff, go ahead and look for those in the email.
You'll go sideline here. If you could put a little towel or t-shirt right in this space so you're not jabbing your elbow into your torso, that'd be great. And then you're going to externally rotate. This weight is trying to pull you down this way. You're using the muscles on the posterior side of your shoulder, the back side of your shoulder, to bring that on up. You should start to feel a little bit of burn back here in the shoulder, okay? Depending on how heavy load you use. All right, so you got 3 rounds of that, guys. Push-ups for 10, single leg bridges, 10 per side, and then external rotation of the shoulder, 10 on each side. Now, if you have the ability, the weight, the resistance on the external rotation should be lighter than that of the one that you used on the row. You've got huge back muscles that are responsible for that rowing. This exercise, very small muscles in the shoulder that are responsible for external rotation, so they're not going to be able to move as much resistance as that row would.
Let us know in chat once you've done all 3 rounds of those. And while they're doing those, Lee, can you talk about the names of each of those exercises again and the number of reps?
Yep. So the first one is the push-up. Again, remember, guys, when you're setting up your hands for push-ups, you want to be here or slightly turned out, and you want to be thinking about spreading the floor with your hands, not turned in where your shoulders are going to do this number and you put your shoulders at risk. So we're here. Elbows shouldn't be up here. You should be trying to slightly turn them down and in. We're doing 10. If you're doing the progression where you're shoulder tapping, it's down, up, tap, down, up, and tap. 10 total. That would be 5 on each side if you're doing the taps. Single leg bridges and the glute bridge, 10 per side. If you're loading it, you put the weight on the hip that you're pushing through. And the external rotation for the shoulder is 10 per side. And again, if you guys have any questions about any of that, you let me know. If you are finding when you're doing the regular push-ups just on your hands and feet that you cannot get a full range of motion where you would lower almost to a tennis ball, then you need to go to the regress version so you can get a full range of motion. I'd rather you go to the easier version and get a good 10, or in this case, a good 30, than try and do the harder one and only get a half range of motion.
Let us know in chat if you've got just a little bit of a sweat going on. I think a lot of people are finishing up with those 3 rounds. What football helmet do you have on your camera or on your counter over there?
I got that question the other day from one of my NCAP kids. That is a Heisman helmet. It is signed by 26 different Heisman winners.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
At least one of them went to Tyler School. Does anyone know where Tyler went to college?
Ah, here's a good question.
And if so, do you know which Heisman winner is on my helmet from that school? See if the swimmers are actually football fans too.
Looks like everybody's got a little sweat going on. Oh, first answer came back was right. That's right. I'm a Michigan Wolverine, y'all. Go blue. That's right.
All right. Does anyone know who won the Heisman from that school? There's probably been a couple, but I only have one on my helmet.
I was about to say, I think there's more than one, but I'm not sure which one you're talking about.
I'm pretty sure he was there way before you, Tyler. He's closer to my age.
All right, why don't we Charles Woodson.
That is correct.
Nice. All right, so why don't we go blue, everybody? Why don't we go on to the next block of exercises?
All right, guys. So we're going to get into our core series now. So I'm going to show you a bunch of different ways to make this either more or less challenging. Again, because I can't see you, I don't know how clean it's looking, how great it is, but I'm going to trust you guys are going to listen to my coaching. So the first one, and what most people find to be the toughest one, is going to be your hollow hold. We started to go over this last week. For those of you that were on yesterday from the younger group, if you're on with the older group, this is where we started kind of cutting in and out. So hopefully you get the full instruction today. So the hollow hold, easier version. First of all, set up. You want to set up so that your ribs are down. You can see right now, I got a black shirt on, but I'm kind of arched, and I can slide my hand underneath of here. You want to get your ribs down and tuck your tailbone so that your low back is firmly pressed into the floor. We're going to work on a long body position here, and we're going to challenge your core. Next thing you're going to do is lift your legs, okay? Pushing your back into the floor. This is the easier version. Harder version would be going into a streamline, and harder version would be going into a longer streamline as I'm shaking from tweaking my back and trying to show this exercise.
Kara, these are called hollow holds. These are called hollow holds, y'all.
So this is the regress version, progress version, and toughest would be adding kicks. Okay? If you're adding the kicks, make sure that you're adding kicks. You're not kicking from your knees like this. You're moving at your hips. Okay? We're going to do that for 20 seconds. Okay? So I'll start at Tyler, if you got a clock, we can start it.
All right, everybody, you should start right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and rest. If your back arches when you kick, do the regressed version where you're not kicking. You want to make sure your lower back is staying on the ground.
Yeah, if your low back bothers you on that exercise, that means you progressed past where you're supposed to be. You should be able to feel your anterior core, let's call it your abs. You should feel them turning on, but you should not feel any low back strain because you're bracing to make sure your low back is flat. Okay? Second exercise you guys have all done, probably with a medicine ball on a pool deck at some point or many times, is a Russian twist. You're going to do here, hold, rotate. We're going to rotate for speed. Your head is going to follow your hands. So if you look at me from straight on, a lot of people when they do this, they just go like this. If you can read my shirt or you can at least see that there's letters on my shirt, by the time I rotate, you shouldn't be able to see those letters. They should now be facing this way and this way. So I shouldn't just be doing this. When you rotate, I want you to rotate for speed, but don't touch the floor. I don't want the floor to decelerate the weight. I want your obliques, we call them your lateral side abs, to decelerate the weight. So as this is moving fast, I'm going to use my core to stop it and get it going in the other direction. So like that. 20 in each direction. So 1, 2, 3. Okay? You can use a weight depending on where you are and how strong you feel, anywhere from 2 pounds to 10 pounds. You should be able to maintain good spinal alignment. You shouldn't be rounded or falling back. You should kind of be forming a V out of your body and rotate. We'll do 20 on each side. And then we'll get to that third exercise. Okay, so this first round I want you guys to do with me, and the next 2 rounds you'll do on your own once we set you free. Okay, So should be just about done with that because you should have been moving for speed. This one is obviously not for speed. It's a plank. We talked about the hard style plank last week. I'm going to review it again. So I think we all agreed last week the hard style plank was much tougher than the plank where you just kind of get up and hold a plank position. So we'll review that. Start from the floor. Push your fist gently into the floor. Pull your elbows back, creating friction between your forearms and the floor. You're not actually moving them back. You're just creating that friction. And then you're going to tuck your toes under and straighten out your legs and your hips as hard as you can and hold. Okay? For this first round, you're just going to hold for 20 seconds. If that's feeling easy, I'm going to add a progression that you can do on your next 2 sets. Okay? So you hold that for 20 seconds. We'll let you count. Should be about 5 or 6 seconds left. All right. Now, you're going to go through those 3 exercises 2 more times. When you get to planks, I'm going to give you a little progression if that felt easy. Setup is the same. Push your fists into the floor. Pull your elbows back to create that friction. Straighten out your legs and get strong as steel from head to heel. One straight line. Butts aren't in the air. No low back arching. And then from there, you're just going to raise a leg. 3 inches from the floor. 3 inches from the floor. Okay? We're not raising it way up. It's just an inch from the floor. When you raise that leg, you've got to be able to keep your hips level. No low back arching. Everything else stays exactly the same as it was. Completely stable. Okay, so you're going to go through 3 rounds, guys. Hollow hold.
Hollow holds for 20 seconds, Russian twist, 20 on each side, and then a plank for 20 seconds. Let us know in chat when you're done with all 3 rounds. The first one in this set, Anna, was hollow holds.
So we got hollow holds, 20 seconds, either with kicks or without. 20 in each direction on your Russian twist, and then either a 20-second plank or a plank where you're raising one leg and then the other leg.
All right, and that was the last part of workout, correct?
That is the last part of this workout. I wanted to leave a little time for Q&A. And as always, like we talked about last week, I want you guys to make sure that you are doing some form of conditioning, getting out, riding a bike, jogging. Make sure you're not overdoing the jogging as your bodies are used to swimming. And we know that your cardiorespiratory, cardiovascular system can handle a lot. And you could probably run for 10, 12 miles. But can your knees, ankles, hips, low back handle that is another subject altogether. So we want to ramp up any of that activity.
So I put up a poll on everybody's screen and I asked, did you have a good workout? And 100% said yes. So that's awesome.
Fantastic. I feel like I did too, even though I wasn't the one working out.
Here's a good question that you could tee up on. Should they warm down after this workout? What kind of warm down can they do?
Because it's not like swimming. The only thing I would do is this is, and we get a lot of, should I static stretch? Should I hold stretches for long periods of time? The answer is typically going to be no, and we can get into all the science behind that. But this might be the one time after a lift where you could do a stretch of muscles that you felt were tight or limited, hip flexor, quads, lats. You can do some light stretching afterwards, but otherwise, no, we didn't hit an intensity where there needs to be a warm down period. As opposed to like if you had done an hour and a half practice, or you would come out of a meet, or you were jumping from event to event in a meet. Now I would say, should you warm down or cool down as you come out of an hour of cardio, like let's say a long run? Yeah, you shouldn't go from full on running for an hour to completely stop and sitting on the couch.
So Matthew, that answers your question. 1 hour runs are good, but only if you work up to them. So if you've never run before, don't go out and run for an hour, because not only is that probably going to be bad for your ankles and knees, but you're going to be really sore. So work up to that. Maybe start out just running for 10 minutes and then go 15 and then 25 and so on and so forth. The best cardio workout for swimmers, Hannah, is swimming. But if you can't do that right now, I mean, try to, go get out for a run. If you have a stationary bike, you can do that. You can, even if you have like a real bike, you could go get out for a bike workout, or you could go out for walks. If you want to walk at a brisk pace, that can get a good aerobic work in. Yeah, long walks are good too.
Yeah, Tyler, one thing I like to do with my swimmers, especially at this age group, is and this is a kind of a next level thing, and when you have access to a lot more stuff, but I want to challenge energy systems that they don't challenge as part of their predominant events. So if we're talking about a sprinter, if he's doing 50s and 100s, and that's his primary focus, I want to tap into that energy system where he is building more aerobic capacity. So longer events with their out of the water cardio. Whereas when you're talking about a distance swimmer, of which, I get the pleasure of working with some of the best in the country, I like to tap into that anaerobic or that sprint energy system. So I'll have them do very short bouts of sprints, like on a Versa climber or a rower or an assault bike, where they're doing very short bursts, but at 100% max effort. So they get used to tapping into that energy system.
All right. So, all right, y'all, if you don't have any other questions, that's the end of the session. We're going to go ahead and call it. You guys are going to be getting an email of this replay in a couple of hours. So check that out. There's also going to be some links in there to all of the gear that Lee was referring to today. You can also go straight to our website at fitterandfaster.com/replay to watch the replays. And you can also see all of our upcoming shows at fitterandfaster.com/live. Also, don't forget to pay attention to Fitter and Faster's social accounts. We're going to be announcing 12 webinars later this week or later today, and they're all for next week. And we encourage you to join us whenever a topic comes up that you're interested in. Lastly, you should see this on your screen. We've got this app called Swim Videos on Demand, and you can also find it manually at swimvideos.net. It's filled with hundreds of drills and full of really useful swimming information, along with explanations from our top clinicians. So this is a really good way to break down what you're doing and, maybe learn a few things while you're in this downtime. Thank you very much for everybody who attended today. I'm glad y'all had a good workout. Look out for other workouts that are coming up. As always, stay safe, stay positive, keep a lookout for your event, for future events, and wash your dang hands. Goodbye now.